My husband was cheating on me with a younger coworker. Turns out he was lying to both of us. Here's how we joined forces to expose him. I used to think that if I ever found out my husband was cheating, it would be a clean break, a cut and run, tears and packing bags, dramatic speeches. But that's not how it went. Not for me. Instead, it started small, subtle. I was just trying to find our movie booking in his inbox. His phone buzzed. Chloe's name, a heart, a text. Still thinking about last night. Can't wait to see you again. I felt my stomach drop, but I told myself, don't jump to conclusions. But curiosity, or maybe survival instinct, won. I tapped into his messages. That was all it took. Photos, hotel receipts, voice notes, all recent, all clear, all with Chloe, the new girl from his company, 7 years younger, big eyes, perfect hair, the one he said barely knew how to use the printer. The weirdest part? I didn't even cry right away. I just stood in the kitchen, feeling hollow, reading through the conversations as if they were someone else's story. The pasta boiled over. The TV was still playing in the background. The world kept going, even though everything inside me stopped. I couldn't confront him that night. I wasn't ready. I needed to see her. I found her Instagram. I scrolled for hours, searching for the thing that made her special, anything to blame. But there was nothing. She looked happy, normal, completely unaware. A few days later, I saw her by chance, outside Ryan's office in tears, yelling at him on the curb. I couldn't hear what she said, but I could see the way he looked through her, impatient, cold. She tried to hand him a necklace. He refused. She tried to touch his arm. He shrugged her off. She turned away, crying, clutching her phone to her chest like a life raft. I stayed in my car, hidden, watching the whole scene unfold. That's when it hit me. She wasn't my enemy. She wasn't the cause of my pain. She was living her own version of it. I saw her lips moving, pleading with him. He said something that made her step back, her shoulders sagging, completely defeated. He didn't follow her. He just checked his phone and walked away, as if none of it mattered. It was so much uglier and lonelier than I ever imagined. That night, for the first time, my anger had somewhere to go. I stopped blaming her. I started blaming him. I lay awake replaying the look on her face, the way she hugged herself on the sidewalk, the way I knew exactly how that felt, even though we'd never spoken. For the first time since I discovered everything, I didn't feel alone. I realized there are so many of us. Women who loved, trusted, believed, only to find themselves written out of the story by the same man, the same tricks, the same damn lies. I wanted to reach out to her, to tell her, it's not your fault. We're in this together, even if we don't know each other yet. And maybe, I thought, just maybe, I didn't have to be the victim in this story. Maybe neither of us did. If you've ever had the ground ripped out from under you by someone you thought you knew, if you've ever realized the person you trusted most was playing you and someone else at the same time, you'll understand. Sometimes the only thing that keeps you from drowning is realizing you're not the only one treading water. The first time I reached out to Chloe, my hands were shaking so badly I could barely type. I rewrote my message at least a dozen times before sending it. I think we need to talk. It's about Ryan. Please, just hear me out. I didn't know what I expected. Anger, denial, maybe even insults. Instead, I got a reply in under a minute. Name the place. We met at a cafe on a rainy Tuesday afternoon. I arrived first, heart pounding, rehearsing what I'd say. When Chloe walked in, she looked nothing like the other woman I'd imagined. No arrogance, no calculation. Just a girl who looked tired, small, and like she hadn't slept in days. We sat across from each other, both pretending to study the menu, both avoiding eye contact. I could see her hands trembling as she wrapped them around her coffee cup. Just so you know, she started, her voice tight. I had no idea he was married. Not until I saw the ring mark on his finger one night, and by then, I think I was already too far in. I wanted to snap at her, to blame her, but all I felt was exhaustion. I saw you with him last week, I said quietly. You looked hurt. He does that to people, I guess. Chloe's eyes filled with tears. He told me he loved me. He promised he was single, that he was just busy with work. I actually believed him. God, I feel so stupid. For a long moment, neither of us said anything. It was the weirdest thing, sitting with the woman I'd spent days resenting, only to realize she was just as lost as I was. She wiped her eyes and whispered, "I'm sorry. I'm really, really sorry. If I'd known." I nodded. "I believe you," I said, and I meant it. Honestly, I don't think we're the only ones. I think he's done this before. Maybe he's doing it right now. Chloe gave a shaky laugh, half relief, half despair. "We're just a couple more names on his list, aren't we? It would have been easy to walk away. Let Ryan keep his secrets, let Chloe disappear." But as we sat there, comparing stories, piecing together timelines, it became obvious. He wasn't just careless, he was deliberate, manipulative. He lied without blinking, told us both exactly what we wanted to hear. And for a while, it worked. Maybe it was pride, maybe it was fury, or maybe I just didn't want to feel powerless anymore. "We should do something," I said, surprising myself. Chloe looked at me, eyebrows raised. "Like what?" "Make sure everyone sees him for who he really is. No more hiding, no more lying." We spent the next hour planning, half serious, half laughing at the absurdity of it all. We swapped screenshots, forwarded emails, dug up every little thing that didn't add up. Chloe promised to keep pretending everything was normal with Ryan, to keep meeting him, gathering more evidence. I did the same at home, asking gentle questions, being understanding, all the while logging his stories, saving receipts, copying messages. It felt strange, teaming up with her. Sometimes I caught myself watching Chloe and thinking, is this really happening? Am I actually doing this? There was still a part of me that felt wrong, like I was betraying myself by working with the woman who'd slept with my husband. But every time I started to doubt, I remembered what it felt like to read those messages, to see her cry on the sidewalk, to realize how easily Ryan could throw either of us away. Ryan was the real betrayer, not Chloe, I told myself, over and over until I almost believed it. Chloe, for her part, kept apologizing, sometimes out of nowhere, like she needed me to know she hated herself for being fooled. "I should have known," she whispered once, but I wanted to believe him so badly. He made me feel like the only person in the world. Turns out I wasn't even the only one that week. The more we shared, the less angry I felt at her, and the angrier I became at him. I don't know where this alliance will end. Maybe it will blow up in our faces. But for now, there's something strangely comforting about not being alone in my anger, about taking back a little bit of power, and about knowing that sometimes the only people who really understand what you're going through are the ones who went through it too. The plan was simple, brutal, but simple. A surprise birthday party for Ryan, except the only surprise would be his. Chloe and I worked out every detail, right down to the seating chart. I sent the invitations, made sure to include every single person who'd ever thought of Ryan as the perfect guy. His parents, my parents, his boss, his favorite colleagues, even a couple of women whose names I'd never known before all this. Chloe handled the tech. She was the one who suggested a slideshow, said she could make it look like a tribute. I let her. Honestly, by then, I was just running on fumes and spite. The night of the party, Ryan was all charm and jokes, hugging everyone, basking in the spotlight. I stood beside him, smiling for photos, clinking glasses, pretending my hands weren't shaking. Chloe arrived a little late, on purpose, so he wouldn't suspect anything. When she walked in, I saw him stiffen for just a split second. I almost felt sorry for him. Almost. Halfway through dinner, Chloe got up and tapped her glass. "Can I say a few words?" she said, all innocent. Ryan smiled. Of course. He loved attention. The lights dimmed. The screen behind the dessert table lit up. At first, it was photos, work events, parties, a few cute selfies Ryan had sent Chloe. Then came the screenshots, his messages, his sweet nothings, his lies, stacked one after the other, sent to Chloe, to me, to 3 other women, some present, some not. There were receipts, emails, calendars marked with overlapping dates and locations. It all played out in silence, only the click of someone's fork dropping onto a plate. Ryan's smile died on his face. People started murmuring. My mother-in-law covered her mouth in horror. His boss's wife shook her head and turned away. A couple of the women in the room went pale. Ryan tried to stand up. This is a joke. Someone's trying to... Chloe interrupted, her voice calm but shaking. It's not a joke, Ryan. I think everyone deserves to know who you really are. Not just the charming executive, the good husband, the good son, the man who promised me I was his world, while he was sending the same messages to half the room. I didn't say anything. I just watched him flail, trying to explain, then to blame, then to beg. But the evidence was all there. My friends, even his parents. They all stared at him like he was a stranger. One by one, people got up and left. His boss was the first. His sister followed, then my own brother. The women who stayed glared at him, some in anger, some in pity. He sat down at last, face gray, sweating, all that confidence gone. He looked at me, maybe hoping for mercy. I turned away. Afterward, the house was silent. Ryan locked himself in the guest room. Chloe and I sat on the back porch, just listening to the night. She took off her heels, rubbed her swollen feet. Is it bad I don't feel happy? Not even a little? I shook my head. I don't either. I just feel tired. But at least it's over. For a long time, neither of us spoke. She leaned her head on my shoulder, tears drying on her cheeks. I guess he doesn't get to hurt anyone else for a while, she said. That's something. I tried to believe it. But all I could feel was the emptiness where my trust used to be. I dreamed of this moment, imagined it would feel like winning. But all I felt was relief and a kind of deep, aching sadness. I watched the moon, and for the first time in weeks, I wasn't afraid of what would come next. I was free, whatever that meant now. I don't know if what we did was justice or just revenge. I do know it was honest. And sometimes that's all you can ask for when the truth finally comes out. Freedom is a strange thing. For so long, I thought it would feel like fireworks, or at least a victory parade. But really, it's quiet. It's waking up alone and realizing you can breathe again. The divorce wasn't easy. It wasn't fast or clean or anything like what people post in self-help threads. But as each signature was added, each item divided, I felt myself coming back together in ways I didn't even realize I'd been broken. I moved into a small apartment above a flower shop. The first night there, I lay on the floor, surrounded by boxes, windows open, city lights glowing outside. I felt something I hadn't felt in years, safe. Not protected by a man, not safe because someone else had my back. Safe because I knew exactly who I was and exactly who I wasn't. I poured my heart into my work. I took on projects I used to be too afraid to try, traveled solo for the first time, started sleeping with the window open. I cooked for myself, went to the movies alone, adopted a cat, learned how to hang shelves and fix the sink. It was messy and lonely sometimes, but it was mine. One night, unable to sleep, I wrote out the whole story, the discovery, the heartbreak, the unlikely alliance with Chloe, the revenge, the emptiness that followed, the long climb back up. I posted it anonymously on Reddit, half expecting it to vanish into the void. It didn't. Instead, my inbox flooded with replies, people telling me their stories, thanking me for being honest, strangers from all over the world cheering for my small victories, mourning with my losses. I realized for the first time that pain connects us, but so does hope. Chloe and I drifted apart, but not out of bitterness. She moved to a new city, started a new job, made new friends. Months later, she sent me a handwritten letter. Thank you for not hating me. Thank you for reminding me that I deserve better too. I hope you find everything you're looking for. I think we both will. I cried when I read it. I wrote back, not with advice, but with gratitude. We were never meant to be friends forever, but for a little while, we were exactly what the other needed. As for Ryan, he tried to reach out, first with angry texts, Then desperate voicemails. Finally, a long, rambling email. He apologized, really apologized, for the first time in his life. He admitted what he'd done, what he'd lost, how empty everything felt now that the masks were gone. I didn't reply. Chloe didn't either. Some things don't deserve closure, just distance. And so here I am on a Saturday morning, sunlight pouring through my little apartment, coffee in hand, a cat curled on the windowsill. I'm not angry anymore. I'm not sad. I'm just free. If I've learned anything, it's this. Revenge doesn't heal you. Truth doesn't always set you free in the way you expect. But loving yourself enough to walk away, that's where the healing really starts. If you're reading this because you're in the middle of it, hurting, doubting, blaming yourself, please know, there is life after betrayal. There is peace after chaos. There is love still, and it can start with you. I close my laptop, pour myself another coffee, and smile, really smile, for the first time in a long, long time. I'm still here, and that I think is enough.